Welcome to Bad Movie Deep Dive. This is the inaugural episode. I am Dave. I do a show also called Demented Collective if you want to check out our good movie deep dive. Uh, I'm the one who likes bad movies. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a deep dive into bad movies. So, what we're starting with this week is Return to Splatter Farm from 2020, directed by Mark Polonia. Now, the Polonia brothers are fantastic. I love the Polonia brothers. Problem is, John died in 2008 or 9, somewhere in there. So we lost him, but Mark's still going. Now, if you are into bad movies, and I assume you are since you're watching this, you probably know who Mark Polonia is. If not, he's done stuff like Bigfoot versus Zombies, Land Shark. He did the Feeders movies. If you ever watch Riff Tracks or anything like that, Revenge of the Empire of the Apes, Jurassic Shark 3, Sea Venge, Cocaine Shark, Motorboat, about a killer motorboat. I might be doing that one soon. Sharkula. Like, this guy does amazing stuff. I really like his work. He's definitely worth checking out. And a lot of his movies are on Tubi. So if you're into that sort of thing, you should check out Tubi. Now, Return to Splatter Farm is the sequel to the 1987 horror called Splatter Farm. And I'm pretty sure that was a Polonia brother thing. I can pull that up, and then we'll have a look. Yep, it is. The Polonia brothers were involved with that. I am not surprised, but I do want to check that out. So it's short. It's a short movie. The runtime, not including credits, is 1 hour, 8 minutes. Directed by Mark Polonia, and Jeff Kirkendall is given credit also on directing. But Tubi only had Polonia as the director, but IMDb shows Kirkendall in there. He was the writer of the movie. He also plays Jeremy, the killer in the movie. He does a lot of acting on top of writing. And it stars Danielle Donahue as Bobby, the main character. She was in Sister Krampus, Doll Shark, Amityville Island, and you're probably going to start hearing names of movies that people have been in, because a lot of the people who do the low budget, the independent movies, tend to work together. It's kind of like a small community type of thing. They're tight knit, and they all seem to give each other work. I don't know where they're getting the money to make these movies, but I'm all for it. Marie DiLorenzo as Daphne. She was in Amityville Island, Empire of the Apes, Sister Krampus. Mel Heflin as Liz. Natasha Knighty's Boudoir of Blood. Karis Hell 3. Camp Blood 666 Part 2. And Axe Grinder 3. And if you like bad movies, I'm sure you've seen 3 out of 4 of those. The Natasha Knighty, I haven't been able to find yet. I'm sure it's out there, though. Ken Van Sant as Sheriff Jordan. And if you've seen Splatter Beach or any of Mark Polonia's movies in the past 15 years, you've probably seen this guy. He's the sheriff. He's Sheriff Jordan. He was in Sharkenstein, Splatter Beach, Bigfoot versus Zombies, that sort of thing. So we dive into this movie, and it opens up with a couple, and they're at an abandoned farmhouse, looking around. They get killed by the killer. Then the credits roll, and we kind of get introduced to the main cast heading to the farmhouse. I didn't catch all of their names watching it, and half of them don't have pictures in IMDb, like head pictures, so I couldn't place the names. So I got some of them, wasn't able to get a lot of them. So I just kind of called like one guy's football guy, or he was a football player or something. So the cast, they're in the car, they're traveling, and they head to a store. And something I noticed, this is one of those things I like about low budget movies. The actors don't know what to do with their arms when they're walking. If you've seen Birdemic, Rod and Birdemic, it's like that. The guy doesn't know what to do with his arms. Football guy doesn't know what to do with his arms when he's walking towards the store. And I'll put it right here. Hopefully I can get the clip to put in. And then it turns out Bobby is the main character, and she has inherited the Splatter Farm. She doesn't know it's a Splatter Farm, but she's inherited the farmhouse and the land. And after some weird talk from the townspeople about how spooky it is and the stuff that might have happened there, the kids head out to the farm. And then it cuts to a guy cutting his arm with like a sickle or something like that. And this is another thing that I like in low budget movies. I know exactly how they did this effect because it's cheaply done and it's fun. And that's how I would do it because, save some money, cut some costs. And then they go to show there's no cell reception in this area except for one guy. He's like, you can suck it, you can suck it, you can suck it. They look around the house and it's like a weird upbeat montage with Casio keyboard soundtrack music playing. If I can get past if the music gets past the copyright, I'll try to put some in. But it's awesome. There's no reason for it, and it's fantastic. And so the kids are starting to kind of party, have some beers, that sort of thing, and they're talking about the past of the farmhouse and just things that might have happened there because they're referencing the old movie here since it was a Polonia thing. They can pull footage from it, so they use some of the footage from the '87 Splatter House. And then they're starting to go to bed. One of the guys is on the couch, and he can hear his friends having sex upstairs, but the ADR on it is really bad. Like they pulled it from like a porno or something. It's really weird, and it's again why we like bad movies because of things like this. And there's one character. I'm going to put a picture of her. They keep trying to make this character the sexy character. If, like, how in a group of friends in a movie, there's always like, you got the jock, you got the stoner, you got the sexy girl, and you got the nerd girl, and that sort of thing. The tough girl. This is supposed to be the sexy one, and I don't see it. Like, she's not. We'll find out soon how she got the part. At least in my opinion. Two of the girls, main girl Bobby, and then the other one, her best friend, who I never picked up her name, go walking the perimeter, and they find a bunch of farming stuff and camping stuff and clothes, and it looks like there's blood on some of the clothes and things like that, and they're not freaking out yet, but they're, what is this? People camping out, and then it cuts to back to the house where the other kids, college students are. And someone they met at the store named Gina comes by for some reason. I guess she's a semi-close neighbor. So she stops by to see how things are going. And the supposedly hot girl is jealous of her or something, I guess. And I don't really know why, because she just kind of came in and was like, hey, how you guys doing? And her boyfriend, the football guy, says he's trying to go pro in football. And I'm looking at this girl like, this is your girlfriend? You're trying to go pro. Okay, you can do better, but whatever. Girlfriend says she's going for a walk. Football guy chases after her. This is right after she threw coffee on Gina, just the neighbor, because she's jealous of her for some reason. So the football guy chases after his girlfriend, and the killer gets him. Bashes his head. And this is amazing. I'm putting the screenshot. His brains that they show were ramen noodles. It's those cheap 25-cent packs of ramen noodles that you can get, the Marachan or whatever they're called, and you can pick them up. And it's they just use probably corn syrup, red dyed corn syrup, that sort of thing, mixed in with something else. And it's like they soften the noodles and just placed it over his head. You can see the picture. It's fantastic. And again, why we love bad movies. And then another guy from the store, he was the mechanic or something from the store, shows up and runs into the girlfriend of the football guy who just died. And he does something to their van, like he breaks it, because later it won't start. So I don't know what this guy's deal is. And then unattractive girlfriend runs into him and says, let's go to the barn. So this chick's a hussy on top of everything else. And then it's like, okay, now I get it. I get why she got the part, because she takes her shirt off. And it's, okay. It's one of those, it's a bad movie. They got someone for a low price who would take her shirt off. It's funny. Uh, and yeah, she was willing to do that, and that's my bet on how she got that part. She starts making out with this guy that she just met, um, and her because she's mad at her boyfriend or something. I don't know. Killer shows up, chops both their heads off in one swoop. Uh, Fun scene. It shows their heads like sitting on hay, or they land on a hay bale or something like that. And then it cuts back to Gina, the girl from the store who had the coffee spill on her, and she's hopping in the shower. This isn't your house, lady. Go home. Like, you have a car outside. Just leave. Uh, but it was another chance to throw in some boobies there. So they did that, showing that she's soaking down, and then it cuts over to I guess the killer. Oh, wait! I skipped ahead here. Uh, Bobby and her friend get back to the house, and the friend goes out to. Oh, wait a minute! No, uh, the killer shows up and kills Gina. I think he like throws a head in her face or something like that. He cut off someone else's head, shoves it in her face, and I guess that kills her. It doesn't really show her getting stabbed or anything like that. Just a head coming at her face. So I'm assuming she died there somehow. She did die because they show her body later. Uh, Bobby and her friend get back. Friend goes outside to have a beer, and then this is actually a pretty cool scene. The killer shoots a flare gun into her mouth, and it has a range of effects. There's like 3 different effects they use. One of them not good. One of them is good, and I'll put the good one there. And then I'll put all of them. And then the really bad one at the end. There's like fake flames in front or something. It's terrible, but that's what makes it awesome. Uh, so we cut to the sheriff now, throwing someone in jail, and his here's more pictures. His gun is on backwards. He's wearing his gun backwards, and he doesn't have a magazine in it. There's no magazine in his holster or in the actual gun. So I don't know if they couldn't afford it or if they just didn't want to risk something with the law, or if they didn't have a permit. Because typically the Polonias film in Pennsylvania, so I don't know what their gun laws are out there. And the guy who was throwing in jail, I know that voice, and I'm pretty sure that was Mark Polonia, just doing a quick cameo, or he didn't want to pay someone to do it. So I thought that was kind of neat. The husband of Gina calls the sheriff, says he hasn't seen his wife in a while. If sheriff could go check it out at the farm. Sheriff heads out, and I guess we cut over to this guy named Gopher. It's the first time I've talked about him. He has long hair. I think he's supposed to play he doesn't have a girlfriend there. He's kind of the fifth wheel or whatever it is. Not dork, but long hair. He wears shirts that say VHS rocks and things like that, and it does. I guess the killer at some point, I missed it for some reason. He stuck a rod in the guy, like his neck or his head or something like that, and then this guy gets struck by lightning and lights, like his face gets all like blacked and on fire and stuff. It's wild. It's fun though. Bobby starts looking for her friends, finds Gina's body in the shower, and then she runs for it because the killer's chasing her now. And she gets in the van, and this is where the van doesn't start because that mechanic guy was screwing around with it. The killer chases her, knocks her out. Sheriff shows up, looking around the house. Bobby's yelling for help. Car takes off, and on the sheriff, it crashes, and then I guess we're supposed to assume that was the killer who was in the car or something like that. I'm not entirely sure because the killer turns out to be okay. Cop gets in his car, starts trying to call into the station for backup, and he gets strangled by the killer. So the killer was fine. Bobby is still trapped in a room that the killer put her in, screaming for help. I'm sure you've seen the movies where they do a scrape of fingers down something or other. And the fingernails bend off and crack and stuff. Normally that's something that will gross me out, but in this occasion it didn't because it just looks not. Yeah, it looks bad. I'll put a picture there so you can see what it's like. And then it cuts to the killer frolicking in a field. and then it ends. So Bobby is still alive. Just because she got a few fingernails knocked off doesn't mean she's dead from her scraping the door. So I don't know what happens with Bobby. I don't know if they're setting up a part three. This was made 4 years ago. So, and Polonia he made a Feeders 3 in 22, I think. And the last Feeders he made was in 98 or 96, something like that. Uh, and then, 20 years later, he makes a new one. So who knows what he'll do with this? And that's the end of the movie. For some reason, the killer is just doing a weird frolic in a field, and then it cuts to the credits, like some punk song that they wrote for the movie. I would give this one a watch. This one is fun. It's so good it's bad, and I think you would enjoy it. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notifications button. And like I said at the beginning, I am also on a channel called Demented Collective, at Demented Collective. You can check us out. We do long reviews. It's me and my buddy Gare. We do long reviews of movies, like good ones, like Psycho, Shaun of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, things like that. And they tend to go between an hour and 2 hours. So if you're looking for a long form, that's the place to find it. If not, and you just want to look at bad movies, stay right here, and I'll see you next time.